Question number 100. What is Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC, Model View Controller, is a framework within the Spring framework for building web applications. It follows the MVC design pattern and provides tools to develop loosely coupled, testable, and reusable code. Question number 99. What is the DispatcherServlet in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The DispatcherServlet ACTS is the front controller in a Spring MVC application. It routes incoming HTTP requests to appropriate controller methods and manages the request response lifecycle. It is declared in the web.xml file or automatically configured in Spring Boot. Question number 98. What are the components of Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The main components are DispatcherServlet, front controller, controllers, process user input, view resolver, resolves view names to actual views, models, contain data, and handler mapping, maps requests to handlers. Question number 97. How do you configure Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Configure Spring MVC by defining a DispatcherServlet in web.xml. Traditional approach. Or using Java-based configuration with it enable Web MVC. Define controller classes annotated with it controller or at rest controller. Question number 96. What is the role of it controller?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The it controller is used to mark a class as a Spring MVC controller. It allows the class to handle HTTP requests and return views. Methods in the class are annotated with it request mapping or other HTTP-specific annotations like @get mapping and @post mapping. Question number 95. What is the difference between it controller and at rest controller?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The it controller is used for MVC applications and typically returns view names, while at rest controller is a combination of it controller and it response body and is used for REST APIs to return JSON or XML responses directly. Question number 94. What is it request mapping?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The it request mapping is used to map HTTP requests to controller methods. It supports mapping specific URLs, HTTP methods, and parameters. Example: at request mapping, value equals home, method equals request method, get maps a get request to home. Question number 93. What is the purpose of it request param?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The it request param is used to bind HTTP request parameters to method parameters in a controller. Example: public string get data, at request param, ID, string ID, binds the ID parameter from the query string. Question number 92. What is it path variable in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at path variable variable is used to extract values from the URI template and bind them to method parameters. Example: in user ID. The ID can be accessed with a path variable ID. Question number 91. How does Spring MVC handle exceptions?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles exceptions using its exception handler methods in controllers or globally with @controller advice. It allows developers to define custom responses for specific exceptions. Question number 90. What is the purpose of its model attribute?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @model attribute binds request parameters to a model object or adds an object to the model map, making it available to the view. It can also pre-populate model attributes for a view in methods annotated with @model attribute. Question number 89. What is the use of @request body?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @request body is used to bind the body of an HTTP request to a method parameter. It is commonly used in RESTful services to map JSON or XML request payloads to Java objects. Question number 88. What is @response body?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @response body indicates that the return value of a controller method should be written directly to the HTTP response body instead of rendering a view. It is typically used in REST APIs to return JSON or XML responses. Question number 87. How does Spring MVC handle file uploads?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles file uploads using the multi-part file interface. You need to configure a multi-part resolver bean in your application context. Use @request param file multi-part file in a controller method to handle file uploads. Question number 86. What is view resolver in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
View resolver is a component in Spring MVC that resolves logical view names returned by controllers into actual views, e.g., JSPs, timeleaf templates. Common implementations include internal resource view resolver and timeleaf view resolver. Question number 85. What are the types of views supported by Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC supports a variety of views, including JSPs, timeleaf, free marker, Groovy templates, and PDF or Excel views. You can configure the desired view resolver in your application. Question number 84. What is handler mapping in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Handler mapping is responsible for mapping HTTP requests to the appropriate controller methods. It determines the best matching handler based on the request URL, HTTP method, or other attributes. Question number 83. How do you handle cross-origin requests in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Use the @cross-origin annotation on a controller or method to enable CORS for specific domains. Alternatively, configure cores globally using Web MVC configurers. Add cores mappings method. Question number 82. What is the use of its session attributes?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The its session attributes is used to store model attributes in the HTTP session. It is helpful when you want to share data across multiple requests in the same session. Example: @session attributes. User. Question number 81. What is Spring form binding in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring form binding simplifies the process of binding HTML form fields to Java objects using tags like less than form, form greater than and less than form, input greater than in JSPs. The @model attribute annotation is used to bind the form data to the model object. Question number 80. How do you perform validation in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Validation in Spring MVC is done using the @valid annotation in combination with JSR 303, JSR 380. Annotations like @not-null, @size, and @email. A binding result object can capture validation errors, which can then be sent back to the view. Question number 79. What is the role of binding result in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Binding result is used to capture validation errors and provide feedback to the user. It works alongside the @valid annotation, holding validation error messages that can be displayed in the view. Question number 78. What is the purpose of @init binder in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @init binder is used to customize the data binding process for controller methods. It allows developers to configure property editors or formatters for specific fields. Example: binding a date field to a specific format. Question number 77. How does Spring MVC support RESTful web services?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC provides annotations like @REST controller, @request mapping, @get mapping, and @post mapping to develop RESTful APIs. It supports JSON and XML responses out of the box with libraries like Jackson or JAXB. Question number 76. What is the use of HTTP message converter in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
HTTP message converter is used to convert HTTP requests and responses into Java objects and vice versa. For example, mapping Jackson to HTTP message converter handles JSON conversion, while string HTTP message converter handles plain text. Question number 75. What is the @request part annotation?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @request part is used in Spring MVC to handle multi-part requests. It is used to bind a specific part of the multi-part request, such as a file or JSON data, to a method parameter. Question number 74. What is the difference between @request param and @path variable?
3, 2,
The @request param is used to extract query parameters from the URL, while @path variable extracts values from the URL path. Example: user ID equals 1 users @request param, while user 1 uses @path variable. Question number 73. How do you handle internationalization I18N in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC provides support for internationalization using the Locale Resolver interface and resource bundles. Configure a locale resolver bean, e.g., cookie locale resolver, and use message source to manage messages for different locales. Question number 72. How do you implement interceptors in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Implement the handler interceptor interface and configure the interceptor in the Web MVC configurers. Add interceptors method. Interceptors allow you to perform tasks before or after request processing or after view rendering. Question number 71. What is the use of @request header in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @request header is used to bind HTTP header values to method parameters in a controller. Example: public string get header, @request header, user agent, string user agent, retrieves the user agent header from the request. Question number 70. What is the @cookie value annotation used for?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @cookie value is used to bind HTTP cookie values to method parameters in a Spring MVC controller. Example: @cookie value, session ID, string session ID retrieves the value of the session ID cookie. Question number 69. How does Spring MVC handle asynchronous requests?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles asynchronous requests using the callable and deferred result objects. These allow controllers to return responses asynchronously, enabling better scalability for long-running processes. Question number 68. What is the role of @request mapping? A EuroS produces and consumes attributes.
3, 2, 1, 0.
The producer's attribute specifies the type of response, e.g., application, JSON, while the consumes attribute specifies the type of request body, e.g., application, XML, that a method can handle. Question number 67. How can you pass data from a controller to review in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Data can be passed from a controller to review using the model map, or model and view objects. These objects allow attributes to be added, which can then be accessed in the view. Question number 66. What is Content Negotiating View Resolver in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Content Negotiating View Resolver is a special type of view resolver that selects an appropriate view based on the content type requested by the client, e.g., JSON, XML, HTML. Question number 65. How do you configure a default view in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
You can configure a default view by setting a default view name in the internal resource view resolver, or handling unmatched requests in a custom controller method. Question number 64. What are flash attributes in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Flash attributes are used to pass temporary data between two requests, typically during a redirect. Spring provides the redirect attributes interface to manage these attributes. Question number 63. What is at request part and when should it be used?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at request part is used to bind specific parts of a multi-part request, like files or form data, to a method parameter. It is commonly used in file upload scenarios. Question number 62. How do you secure a Spring MVC application?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Security in Spring MVC can be implemented using Spring Security, which provides features like authentication, authorization, and CSRF protection. Configure security filters and manage roles using annotations like at pre-authorized and at secured. Question number 61. What is the difference between at session attributes and HTTP session?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at session attributes is used to store specific model attributes in the session, while HTTP session provides direct access to the entire session object. At session attributes is more lightweight and works within the MVC paradigm. Question number 60. What is the use of at exception handler in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at exception handler is used to define methods in a controller to handle specific exceptions. When an exception occurs, the annotated method is invoked to return an appropriate response or view. Question number 59. What is the at controller advice annotation?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at controller advice is used to define global exception handling, data binding, and model attributes for multiple controllers. It consolidates shared logic across controllers in a Spring MVC application. Question number 58. What is the difference between at rest controller and at controller?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at controller is used for traditional MVC controllers that return views, while at rest controller is a specialization that combines at controller and at response body to simplify, creating RESTful web services. Question number 57. How does Spring MVC handle form submissions?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles form submissions by binding form fields to model objects using at model attribute, and validating them with at valid. The submitted data can be processed in the controller method and passed back to the view. Question number 56. How do you configure custom error pages in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Custom error pages can be configured using the simple mapping exception resolver or by defining error codes and corresponding paths in the web.xml or application properties. Question number 55. What is the purpose of DispatcherServlet?
3, 2, 1, 0.
DispatcherServlet is the central component in Spring MVC that dispatches requests to appropriate controllers, resolves views, and handles exceptions. It acts as the front controller for the application. Question number 54. What is the role of View Resolver in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The View Resolver resolves logical view names returned by controllers to physical views like JSPs or timeleaf templates. It determines how the view is rendered. Question number 53. What are some common view technologies supported by Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC supports various view technologies, including JSP, timeleaf, FreeMarker, Groovy templates, and PDF or Excel views. You can configure the desired view resolver in the application context. Question number 52. How do you configure static resource handling in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Use the Web MVC configurer interface and override the Add Resource Handlers method to configure paths for static resources like CSS, JS, and images. Example: add resource handler, resources, asterisk, add resource locations, static. Question number 51. What is the request scope annotation?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The request scope is used to define a bean's scope as limited to a single HTTP request. A new instance of the bean is created for each request, and it is destroyed after the request is processed. Question number 50. What is the purpose of the request mapping annotation in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The request mapping maps HTTP requests to handler methods of controllers. It can specify the URL pattern, HTTP method, and other request attributes for routing. Examples include mapping a GET request to home or a POST request to submit. Question number 49. What is the difference between component, service, and controller?
3, 2, 1, 0.
All three are stereotypes used for Spring managed components, but they differ in intent. @component is generic, @service is for business logic, and @controller is for Spring MVC controllers. Question number 48. How does Spring MVC support REST APIs?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC provides annotations like @REST controller, @request mapping, and @path variable. It integrates with HTTP message converter to automatically convert JSON or XML payloads to Java objects and vice versa. Question number 47. What is @path variable in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @path variable binds a URI template variable to a method parameter. For example, in user ID. @path variable ID extracts the ID value from the URL. Question number 46. How do you handle file uploads in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
File uploads in Spring MVC are handled using the multi-part file interface. Configure a multi-part resolver bean and use it request param. File. Multi-part file in a controller method to process uploaded files. Question number 45. What is the difference between model, model map, and model and view?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Model is an interface to add attributes for the view. Model map is an implementation that provides additional methods. And model and view combines the model data and the view name. Question number 44. What is at cross origin in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at cross origin enables cross origin resource sharing (CORS) for a specific controller or method. It allows requests from different origins. Useful for RESTful APIs. Example. At cross origin. Origins equals http://example.com. Question number 43. What are handler interceptor and its uses?
3, 2, 1, 0.
A handler interceptor is used to pre-process or post-process requests and responses in Spring MVC. Common use cases include logging, authentication, and modifying request data before reaching the controller. Question number 42. How do you define and use custom property editors in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Custom property editors are defined by implementing the property editor support class and registered. Using it init binder. They are used for data binding, like converting a string to a specific type. Question number 41. What is the difference between at get mapping and at post mapping?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at get mapping maps HTTP GET requests to a handler method, while at post mapping maps HTTP POST requests. They are specialized forms of at request mapping. Question number 40. What is the role of the view interface in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The view interface represents a view in Spring MVC. It is responsible for rendering the model data to the client. Examples include JSP, timeleaf templates, and JSON responses. Question number 39. What is at request body used for in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at request body is used to bind the body of an HTTP request to a method parameter. It is commonly used in REST APIs to deserialize JSON or XML payloads into Java objects. Question number 38. What is the at response body annotation in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at response body tells Spring to write the return value of a method directly to the HTTP response body. It is typically used in REST APIs to return JSON or XML instead of a view. Question number 37. How does Spring MVC support internationalization? Spring MVC supports internationalization using resource bundle message source for messages and the locale resolver interface to determine the user's locale. Views and messages can be customized for different languages based on the locale. Question number 36. What is the purpose of the handler mapping interface?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Handler mapping is responsible for mapping incoming requests to the appropriate handler. Controller. Methods based on URL patterns or other criteria. It is a key component of Spring MVC's request processing. Question number 35. How do you validate user input in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC provides it valid for validating user input. The binding result parameter is used to capture validation errors. Custom validators can also be created by implementing the validator interface. Question number 34. What is its session attributes used for in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The its session attributes is used to store model attributes in the session. This is helpful for maintaining attributes like a shopping cart across multiple requests in a session. Question number 33. What is the role of it init binder in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The init binder is used to customize the data binding process for controller methods. It allows configuring property editors or validators for specific request parameters or model attributes. Question number 32. How do you handle multiple request mappings for a single method in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
You can handle multiple request mappings for a single method by specifying an array of URL patterns. Init request mapping, @get mapping, or other mapping annotations. Example: @request mapping, value equals path 1, path 2. Question number 31. What is the purpose of Web Data Binder in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Web Data Binder is a data binder used to bind request parameters to Java Bean objects. It provides fine-grained control over how data is bound and validated, such as configuring custom property editors and handling errors. Question number 30. What is the purpose of it model attribute in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The model attribute is used to bind form data or request parameters to a model object and make it available to the view. It can also pre-populate data into the model before a request is handled by a controller. Question number 29. How does Spring MVC support AJAX requests?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC supports AJAX requests by allowing controllers to return JSON or XML responses using @response body. It integrates well with JavaScript frameworks like jQuery for making asynchronous requests. Question number 28. What is the purpose of the @REST controller annotation?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @REST controller is a specialization of controller that combines it with response body. It simplifies the creation of RESTful APIs by eliminating the need to annotate every method with @ResponseBody. Question number 27. What is the role of multipart resolver in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Multipart resolver is used to handle file uploads. It enables the processing of multipart requests, such as form submissions with file uploads, and works with multipart file for handling files. Question number 26. What is the difference between a request param and a path variable?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @request param extracts query parameters, while @path variable extracts values from the URI path. For example, @request param ID fetches ID equals 123, and @path variable ID fetches 123 in user ID. Question number 25. How does Spring MVC handle exceptions globally?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles exceptions globally using controller advice and exception handler. These allow defining centralized error handling for multiple controllers and mapping specific exceptions to response views or messages. Question number 24. How do you set default values for request parameters in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Default values for request parameters can be set using the default value attribute of @request param. For example, @request param value equals ID, default value equals 1. Question number 23. How do you implement interceptors in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Interceptors are implemented by creating a class that implements the handler interceptor interface. They are registered in the Web MVC configurer using the addInterceptors method. Interceptors allow pre- and post-processing of requests. Question number 22. What is the purpose of the @request header annotation?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The @request header is used to bind HTTP headers to method parameters in a controller. For example, @request header user agent can capture the user agent string from a request. Question number 21. How do you handle JSON data in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles JSON data using the @request body annotation to bind request payloads to Java objects and @response body to send responses. The framework uses Jackson or other libraries to serialize and deserialize JSON automatically. Question number 20. What is the role of the DispatcherServlet in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
DispatcherServlet is the central component of Spring MVC, acting as the front controller. It receives incoming HTTP requests, delegates them to appropriate handlers, resolves views, and processes responses. Question number 19. How does Spring MVC handle form submission?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles form submissions using a model attribute to bind form data to a model object, and then processes the form data in the controller. Validation can be applied using valid and error handling with binding result. Question number 18. What is the use of cookie value in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The cookie value binds the value of an HTTP cookie to a method parameter. For example, @cookie value session ID fetches the session ID cookie's value and injects it into the method parameter. Question number 17. How do you configure a view resolver in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
A view resolver is configured by defining a bean in the Spring configuration, such as internal resource view resolver for JSP views. It maps logical view names to actual view files. Question number 16. How does Spring MVC integrate with Timeleaf?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC integrates with Timeleaf by configuring a Timeleaf view resolver and Spring template engine. Timeleaf templates can then be used as views with full support for data binding and expressions. Question number 15. What is the purpose of enable Web MVC in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The enable Web MVC is used to enable Spring MVC configuration in a Java-based configuration class. It imports default configurations and provides hooks to customize them using the Web MVC configurer interface. Question number 14. How does Spring MVC handle multipart requests?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC handles multipart requests, e.g., file uploads, by configuring a multipart resolver bean. The controller uses multipart file to access and process uploaded files. Question number 13. How can you redirect requests in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Requests can be redirected in Spring MVC by returning a string prefixed with redirect. For example, return redirect. Home redirects the client to home. Redirect attributes can be used to pass attributes. Question number 12. What is the difference between a controller and a REST controller?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The controller is used to handle web requests and typically returns a view, while a REST controller is a specialization that combines a controller and a response body, making it ideal for RESTful APIs to return JSON or XML directly. Question number 11. How do you handle static resources in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Static resources like CSS, JavaScript, and images are handled using the Resource Handler registry in the Web MVC configurer implementation. The Add Resource Handlers method maps URL patterns to resource locations. Question number 10. How do you test Spring MVC controllers?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC controllers can be tested using tools like Mock MVC for unit testing. This allows simulating HTTP requests and verifying responses without deploying the application. Frameworks like JUnit and TestNG are commonly used. Question number 9. What is the purpose of the Flash Attributes interface?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Flash Attributes is used to store attributes in a Flash scope, typically for redirect scenarios. These attributes are removed after the next request, making them suitable for temporary data like success messages. Question number 8. What is the purpose of handler adapter in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Handler adapter is used to process a request mapped to a handler. It acts as a bridge between the DispatcherServlet and the actual handler, ensuring the handler's method is invoked correctly. Question number 7. How do you customize error handling in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Custom error handling in Spring MVC can be implemented using an exception handler for specific exceptions and a controller advice for global error handling. Additionally, custom error pages can be configured in web.xml or application properties. Question number 6. How does Spring MVC support CORS?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Spring MVC supports CORS, cross-origin resource sharing, by configuring it cross-origin on controller methods or globally in the Web MVC configurer implementation. This allows specifying allowed origins, methods, headers, and other CORS settings. Question number 5. What is Content Negotiation Manager in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Content Negotiation Manager determines the type of response, e.g., JSON, XML, HTML, to return based on request headers, URL parameters, or path extensions. It is used to support content negotiation in REST APIs. Question number 4. How do you configure interceptors in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Interceptors in Spring MVC are configured by implementing the handler interceptor interface and registering them in the Add Interceptors method of the Web MVC configurer. They allow pre- and post-processing of requests and responses. Question number 3. What is at request part used for in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The at request part is used to bind parts of a multi-part request to method parameters. It is typically used for processing file uploads alongside form data. Question number 2. What is the purpose of Locale Resolver in Spring MVC?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Locale Resolver is used to resolve the locale of a user based on cookies, session attributes, or request headers. It enables internationalization by determining which locale-specific resources should be used. Question number 1. What is the lifecycle of a Spring MVC request?
3, 2, 1, 0.
The life cycle of a Spring MVC request includes these steps. 1. Request reaches the dispatcher servlet. 2. Handler mapping maps the request to a controller. 3. Handler adapter processes the request. 4. Business logic executes. 5. View is resolved using View Resolver. 6. The response is rendered to the client.